Imagine a knock at the door. It's your family doctor. He has been treating you for years, a familiar face arriving to perform a routine checkup on an elderly relative. He gives an injection, chats for a moment, and leaves. Within hours, your relative is dead. When that exact same doctor returns to sign the death certificate, he lists the cause as old age. The paperwork is filed, the family grieves, and the police are never called. Dr. Harold Shipman used this precise sequence of events to murder an estimated 250 of his own patients over a 23-year period. Operating out of a clinic in Greater Manchester, Shipman was a highly respected pillar of his local community. His patients trusted him implicitly, and that unquestioned authority allowed him to hide in plain sight. Shipman did not rely on elaborate criminal conspiracies. He operated as an apex predator who recognized a massive systemic vacuum, a medical framework built entirely on the absolute assumption that doctors are inherently benevolent. His methodology relied on targeting vulnerable elderly women. During house calls, he administered lethal doses of dimorphine, which is pharmaceutical-grade heroin. This flowchart illustrates the bureaucratic loophole he exploited. As the attending physician, Shipman operated a self-regulating loop. He selected the patient, administered the drug, went back to his office to retroactively alter their medical records to show a history of sudden decline, and then declared the cause of death himself. By isolating this final step, self-certifying natural causes, he formed a barrier against outside scrutiny. That single signature prevented coroners or police from ever investigating the bodies. The system did face an early stress test. In 1975, Shipman was caught forging prescriptions to steal painkillers for his own drug addiction. The institutional response to this severe ethical breach was exceptionally lenient. A medical board fined him, sent him to a rehabilitation facility, and returned his medical license. Treating a major fraud conviction as a minor, correctable lapse granted a predator immediate re-entry into a system where he held the power of life and death. By 1998, the data anomalies became glaring. Shipman's patients were dying at highly unusual rates, requiring him to ask other doctors to countersign an abnormal volume of cremation forms. A neighboring physician, Dr. Linda Reynolds, officially recognized this data spike. She formally reported her suspicions about the death rate to the local coroner. The resulting police response failed completely. The department assigned inexperienced officers to the case, who failed to find overt evidence and quickly abandoned the investigation. The cost of that specific oversight is quantifiable. Shipman murdered 3 more patients in the months immediately following the dropped police investigation. The medical oversight system never caught him. Shipman was exposed because he arrogantly stepped outside his medical jurisdiction to commit a financial crime against an 81-year-old victim named Kathleen Grundy. After killing Grundy, Shipman forged her will on his own manual typewriter. He wrote her family out of the document and stole her entire estate, worth nearly £400,000. He made a fatal miscalculation. Grundy's daughter was a solicitor. She immediately spotted the clumsy forgery, went to the police, and triggered an exhumation that finally provided undeniable toxicology proof of morphine poisoning. 23 years of institutional medical oversight failed to detect a single murder. The perfect loop only broke because a killer got greedy. At trial, Shipman maintained his innocence, denying every accusation. The court convicted him of 15 murders and handed down a life sentence. A massive government inquiry followed the trial, costing £21 million and analyzing 270,000 pages of evidence. The inquiry estimated his true victim count at 250. Shipman retained control until the end. In 2004, he hanged himself in his high-security prison cell without ever confessing to a single crime. By taking his motives to the grave, he left hundreds of families in a permanent state of agonizing uncertainty, never knowing for sure if their loved ones died naturally or were murdered in their own homes. The sheer scale of his undetected crimes forced a complete restructuring of British medical law. The government implemented 2 massive institutional reforms. They introduced a new system requiring a second independent doctor to verify any death before a cremation can be authorized, and they established rigorous new oversight mechanisms for controlled drug prescriptions. Systems built purely on good faith and unchecked institutional authority invite exploitation. It cost 250 lives to prove that no single person should ever operate without oversight.